Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We appreciate your support. And I want to thank the 1,200 of you who have taken the time out to hit that subscribe button, and to the thousands of those who have checked out the videos over the last couple of weeks. So we certainly appreciate your support. We appreciate that you're assisting in the growth of the channel. So thank you. So the video we're going to talk a little bit about today is the Pride celebration that took place at the White House over the weekend. So if you don't know, there was the White House hosted a Pride celebration. We are in the midst of Pride Month, which celebrates the LGBTQ plus community. So we're going to get right into it and just listen to Joe Biden and our lovely government officials talk a little bit about this Pride celebration.
By the Harvey family.
And just so you know, there is some controversy that took place at this Pride event, and we're going to talk about that near the end of the video.
Welcome to the White House and happy Pride! The Pride celebration is always one of the most exciting events at the White House. But this year we wanted to do something a little different than before. Not just a reception that recognizes the leaders and the activists of this movement, but an all-American picnic here on the South Lawn. Celebrating you, America's LGBTQ families. We're grateful to the Gill Foundation who helped make today possible, as well as all of those organizations who work to bring hundreds of families together from across our country. It's such an honor to be here with all of you and to see so many of our friends. And as I look around at
these politicians can give two shits about these people. All they see is votes.
This crowd, I'm reminded that you're not just leaders and icons. You're parents trying to figure
out. Icons? Really? We're throwing terms around like icons? Icons.
What to make for tonight's dinner? Your kids who are hoping to.
So I find this to be completely disgraceful, and not just because there's a pride flag there, which it shouldn't be there anyway, but no other flag other than the American flag. I don't care what background or whatever flag you represent or represents you. This is the only flag that should be on the White House. This is disgraceful.
Spend every minute at the pool this summer. And your friends who drop
Make sure Joe Biden's not near you. He may ask you to rub his legs.
off meals when someone is sick. All of us want what everyone else wants. The chance to be who we are and love who we love and make a good life for our family.
Exactly. Listen, as someone who is a straight white male, that's all. Listen, nobody hates the LGBTQ. I mean, there are people out there who have hate in their heart, and you're not going to change that. But personally, I don't have any gripes against that community. They're going to love who they want to love. They like who they want to like. But at the end of the day, leave it out of the classroom. It's not the classroom. It's not the teacher's responsibility to teach my kid about that type of behavior. If my kid sees it, then it's the parents that have the conversation, not the teacher.
of us deserve that. We know that this year's Pride is caught between the push and pull of progress.
It's really not, though. Because the LGBTQ community, I mean, listen, every group of people gets victimized in some way. But to say that they don't have rights is outrageous. They have every right to do, they have every right as someone like me would have, or any right that somebody of, another group would have, or any other American would have. They're not discriminated against.
Outside the gates of this house are those who want to drag our country backwards. And so
it's the left who wants to drag your country backwards, honey. All the left does is divide. They don't talk about uniting. They always talking about separation and segregation.
So many battles yet to be brave. But today, we're not here to be strong. We're not here to be courageous, even though for so many of you, just coming to this event is an act of bravery.
No, it's not.
Today,
now, how is it an act of bravery? How is it an act of bravery? See, that's the Democratic sales talk. Paint everyone as a victim. You are so brave for coming out to the White House. You are so brave for coming out as LGBTQ+. You are so brave because of X, Y, and Z. At the end of the day, they all have the same rights as we do. If somebody came up to somebody in that crowd and attacked them physically, the person who attacked them is going to jail or getting arrested. So I'm a little flabbergasted. And I shouldn't say that. I'm not surprised by the rhetoric. But every time I hear it, it makes me cringe.
Boy. We want our kids just to be kids running around and, hey, eating too much sugar.
Right. Let them eat sugar.
With the friends
let them run around and be kids.
More often, to find solace in the arms of people who see us for who we are, to celebrate the beauty and the resilience of this community. The author, I'm an English teacher, you had to get a little bit. Rita Mae Brown once wrote, "Every day you're alive and someone loves you is a miracle." Today, we say loud and clear that you belong, that you are beautiful, that you are loved. That's the miracle that carries us through the darkest times, that gives us hope for the future that we all want, that strengthens us for the fights ahead. And when you leave here to go back to the place that needs so much change, take that miracle.
I'm confused. Because again, what change is needed? I'm confused. Like, what change is needed? They have every right as any other person in the country. In fact, I would argue they have more rights and they're in a protected status or a protected class. So the left and their victimhood mentality. Like, all them people there, they're going to leave and they're going to feel like victims. Oh my God, people don't love me because I'm LGBTQ. No.
With you. Let it remind you that you don't have to face those battles alone. You are never alone, and you are loved. Thank you for celebrating with us today. And now, please welcome Scarlett Harvey, a health and fitness coach from Texas, who is here with her wife, Crystal, and their 3 kids. Thank you.
Hello and happy Pride. We are the Harvey family, and we're thrilled to be here at the White House for this incredible celebration of joy with the LGBTQ plus community and friends from across the country. We live in Houston, Texas, with our 3 kids. 12-year-old Jocelyn, 4-year-old Liam, who couldn't join us today, and Christopher, who will be 1 later this year on Pride. My wife, Crystal, is an elementary physical education teacher, and I am a health and fitness coach. Growing up in Texas and knowing I was part of the LGBTQ plus community, I had to hide my true self. I never knew if I'd be able to marry the person I love or have kids.
When you grew up in Texas, you had to hide who you loved, but you still live in Texas? Yeah. I sense a made-up story, but okay.
But look at where I am today, together with my wife and kids at the White House. And I am so damn proud. We're a blended family, living out and proud to show our community, our state, and our country that love makes a family. As you can imagine, being out in Texas can be especially tough.
Okay.
In many areas of Texas, we don't see families like ours, and many times we get looks and whispers behind our backs. But don't let it...
So do I. If I go into an area where people don't look like me, guess what I get? Looks, whispers behind my back.
discourage us from being us.
The last time I checked, who gives a shit about what people think? Man the fuck up. No pun intended.
We don't let negativity and ignorance win. We hope being an out and visible 2-mom family will help others realize that while we may look different, than their family, there's so much we have in common. Every week, we try to balance the kids' school, basketball practice, and play dates, cheering them on their sport games and trying to instill confidence in them to be their best self. After all, isn't that what we're all trying to teach our kids?
So she lives in a largely conservative state. She has kids who she's saying play sports with other kids, obviously. I mean, apparently, I mean, it sounds like her kids get along with everybody. The parents interact with each other. So what's the problem? Because you run into some asshat who doesn't agree with your lifestyle. Now you're a victim. So you're painting a brush that all Texans are anti-pride or anti-LGBTQ. The reality is most people don't care. Most people don't care. Because at the end of the day, no one cares who you share your bed with. That's your business.
We teach our children that everyone is unique and we must not only accept their uniqueness, but embrace.
You hear what she said? She teaches her children that people are unique. Not the teacher or the government. She, as a parent, teaches her child that other people are unique. And that is the way it should be.
And celebrate it. We show our children that love and what love looks like. We practice kindness and respect to all. We try to be examples not only for our kids, but to anyone else's and anyone who sees us. We always be proud of our family and proud of our love.
And you should. Why not? It's your business.
And we're also proud that we have the president who gets it and who values us.
He don't. Trust me, he don't. Look at his track record. He don't.
And knows that love.
Go back 10 years and
makes a
ask him
family.
if he believes in marriages between a man and a woman.
It's an honor to introduce a true ally of the LGBTQ plus community, the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
This is the part I've been waiting for.
Hello, hello, hello.
Not sure why it's silent. Let me see why it's... There we go.
Happy Pride Year. Happy Pride Life. We're joined today by leaders across our administration, which has more proud staff at every level than any administration in American history.
As long as they're qualified, who cares?
Our Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg.
Not qualified.
And we have the first and second transgender Americans to be confirmed by the United States Senate in history. Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services, Admiral Rachel Levine.
Clearly not qualified.
And
First of all, have you seen pictures of this person? This person should be as far away from health as possible. Hold on, let me see if I can pull a video up here, a picture. Let's see. Rachel Levine. That, my friends, who is that this is the person who's running health, or who's an admiral in the Health and Human Services Society. I think he just said. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Secretary of Defense, Sean Skeely.
I don't even know who that is.
And by the way, I'm proud that back home in Delaware, the first transgender state legislator in American history, Sarah McBride. I also want to thank two people who couldn't be here, but who made this possible. My dear friend Tim Gill and his husband Scott Miller, who's doing a terrific job as my ambassador to Switzerland.
I wonder if Joe Biden would recognize any sort of conservative member of the LGBT plus community. Probably not.
It's wonderful to welcome all of you to over 1,000 Americans from all across the country. We're gathered here today to honor the extraordinary, and I'm not being solicitous, the extraordinary courage and contribution of the LGBTQ community, to celebrate their legacy and their progress. We welcome to the largest Pride Month celebration ever held at the White House, but just the beginning. Jill and I, Kamala and Doug, the entire administration, doing everything we can to advance equality for the LGBTQ community.
They do nothing, just so you know. They do nothing. I don't know if they've passed any piece of legislation that says otherwise.
In our nation, the entire nation. As Commander-in-Chief, I was proud to have ended the ban on transgender Americans serving in the United States military. I signed a historic executive order strengthening civil rights protections for... He's running from me. I don't know where he's going.
Because you're a fucking weirdo. That's why he's running from you. I'm surprised the rest of the crowd's not running from you.
Do that again, man. You're a sprinter. You can...
God, somebody get their grandpa.
I don't know. He's running to something or from something. I don't know.
He's running from you.
Well, look, we put protections for housing, employment, healthcare, education, and the justice system. We're combating dangerous and cruel practices of conversion therapy. We're launching a new national strategy to end HIV epidemic by 2030. By 2030.
I wonder if he realizes that there are drugs that control HIV at this point. Like, people can live with HIV, and there is medicine that I believe, let me know down in the description box if that's true, but pretty sure there is medicine out there that actually doesn't help regress HIV, but keeps it in check so it doesn't turn into AIDS. But let me know down below. I could be off on that, but I could have sworn I heard something like that.
We're working with communities to treat and contain the Mpox outbreak. We're ending the disgraceful practice of banning gay and bisexual men from donating blood. Making human rights for LGBTQ people around the world, not just here, around the world, a top priority for my foreign policy, including a review of our engagement with Uganda following its recent anti-gay law, the most extreme in the world.
It's funny, you're attacking an African nation with conservative values, because most African nations have conservative values. I just, sometimes I get lost for words when he speaks and when I hear the left speak, because some of the stuff that they are for, they contradict themselves. So it makes no sense. Like, they're only for things if you're on their side. Like, they're only with you. Like, for example, Uganda's in Africa. They're only with Africans if they fit into their ideology, into this left-wing ideology. But if they don't, then they don't give a shit.
And last December, we felt such pride here in the South Lawn when I signed the historic Respect for Marriage Act. It protects the marriage of same-sex and interracial couples.
What? The Supreme Court decided that same-sex couples could marry. That was already in law. That was already settled law, Grandpa. And interracial couples? There is nowhere in America that bans interracial couples from getting married. Like, wake up, people. This guy talks out of his old ass.
But for all the progress we made, we know.
Joe Biden is the anti-civil rights actor. Anti-civil rights actor. Joe Biden, he wrote his crime bill. Guess what his, because he talks about his crime. I wrote the crime bill. Guess what about his crime bill? Put more African Americans in jail than any group of people. But he wrote the bill. He don't even know what's in the bill.
Real challenges still remain. When a person can be married in the morning and thrown out of a restaurant for being gay in the afternoon.
Never happens, people. You're more likely to get thrown out of a restaurant for being conservative than you are for being gay.
Something is still very wrong in America. That's why the Congress must pass and send me the Equality Act to qualify protections for the LGBT community. Joining us today are survivors of Club Q and Pulse, the shootings that took place. Remind us why we must fully implement the significant gun law that we passed.
No. You need mental health services, not gun laws. You don't need to ban your guns, Uncle Joe. What you need is to get people mental health. They need mental health access. They need to be able to, resolve whatever issues they're having that's going to lead them to go out and commit a mass shooting.
most significant in 30 years that I signed, but it's not done yet. We have to ban assault weapons.
Never going to happen.
You know, when families across the country face excruciating decisions to relocate to a different state to protect their child.
You're right. They moved to Florida. They moved to Florida. Guess what's in Florida? Starting July 1st, concealed carry without a license. School choice. Freedom. They moved to Florida. You're absolutely right. They leave left states and they move to right states.
From dangerous anti-LGBTQ laws, we have to act. We have to act as a nation.
I live in Florida, for those of you who don't know, but I'm from Philadelphia. In fact, I go back and forth to Philadelphia pretty frequently. I interact with more transgendered people in Florida than I ever did living in New Jersey and Philadelphia. And we get along just fine. We get along just fine. Go into these neighborhoods and you'll see the reality of what America really is. What these people are feeding you is not America. It's a load of bullshit. If you go into a neighborhood where I am right now, everyone gets along. Kids go over to each other's houses. We have families over for dinner. Different groups of people, different religions. This president and this party, the left-wing Democrat Party, is feeding America a load of shit. And the sad part is their supporters are believing it.
We need to push back against the hundreds of callous and cynical bills and laws introduced in states targeting transgender children.
Leave the kids alone, Uncle Joe. Leave them alone. If you ain't old enough to buy a beer, you ain't old enough to have a transgender sex change. You ain't old enough to vote, you ain't gonna be able to get a sex change. You ain't old enough to buy a pack of cigarettes. They shouldn't be able to decide they want a sex change.
Terrifying families. And
Your party
doctors and
is
nurses.
terrifying.
These bills and laws attack the most basic values.
There is no
Values we
values.
have as Americans. That's
There
how
is
I
no
told you. That's
values.
a fact.
They need
Right
mental
to be
health.
yourself. The right to make your own health decisions. The right to raise your own children.
They don't. Whoa. They don't have the right to raise their own children. Like the shit that people say, like the shit that this guy says, and the Democrats say, it makes no sense.
I recognize for a lot of folks across this country, maybe it's not you, your kid, your family member going through whatever a transgender child and family's going through, but
How about the parent support the child and get them help? How about that? Get them mental help. It's one thing to be gay, one thing to be, a lesbian or bisexual or whatever it is. It's another thing to think you're a woman inside of a man's body and vice versa. And especially for young children, 3, 4, 5, 6, their brains aren't fully developed. They don't know what they are. They have a wild imagination. And based on their wild imagination, you're going to affect their entire life? Give me a break.
I think we all agree, if it were you, you'd want the space to figure it out with your family and your doctor, not being told by anybody.
You're right. They should with their mental psychiatrist.
Look, I think we can all agree, no one should have to fear for their safety in this country. No one.
You're right. They
should
shouldn't.
be singled out or demonized or made to feel less than anyone else. There are some things we should never question or put at risk. Your life, safety, your dignity, they can never be put at risk.
But are they? Isn't every American treated the same? Don't they follow the same set of laws? I mean, I know there's differences between state and federal law, but if somebody were to assault somebody, whether they were black, white, gay, straight, whatever, transgendered, and I call the cops, they're going to be treated the same.
And they are still. You know, too many people in the LGBT community are worried and afraid about their future and their safety. So today, I want to send a message to the entire community, especially to transgender children. You are loved. You are heard.
This guy is so fucking
You are
creepy.
understood. And you belong. And as I made clear, including in my State of the Union address, your president, my entire administration, has your back.
God, someone get their grandpop off stage.
We see who you are. Made in the image of God, deserving of dignity, respect, and support. 2 days ago, I announced a series of new initiatives we're taking to protect the LGBTQ community. First, ensuring your physical safety.
Like every American's
Whether you're
physical safety
organizing a
is
pride parade,
not
running a
important.
small business, or just trying to focus at school, you shouldn't have to deal with bomb threats, harassment, and violent attacks.
Who deals with
That's
that?
why.
Who deals
The
with
Department of
that?
Homeland Security.
Who deals
with
with
the support
that?
of the Department of
Where's the
Justice,
evidence, Grandpa?
The Department of Health and Human Services.
Where's the
launching
evidence?
A safety partnership that's going to provide critical training
Talk
and
out your
support
ass.
to the community. Dedicated resources to better protect festivals, marches, community centers, and businesses. To better protect healthcare providers serving the community, and help folks report hate crimes. Second, we're taking on these civil rights violations because that's what they are. For example, we're addressing how the growing threat to book bans may violate the federal civil rights laws when they target LGBTQ students or students.
What about bans that show sexualized positions that are being that young children in like third grade are being subjected to? You think that's acceptable for 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old child to be subjected to? It's disgusting.
Of color and create hostile classroom environments. Third,
It's more like the teachers create hostile classroom environments. If you don't agree with them, they tell you to leave their country. That's the left. That's the top. These are the same people when Donald Trump got elected in 2016 that said the right wing, the conservatives are going to lose their minds if Donald Trump wasn't elected. Yet these people, these nut jobs for 8 years or 7 years have been nothing but disruptive, out of control. And now look at the state of our country. It's not conservatives.
we're investing in the future of LGBTQ kids. Last year, we launched a nationwide crisis hotline, the LGBTQ youth who are feeling isolated and overwhelmed. If you need help, if you're worried, if you're just concerned, not sure what to do, you need somebody to talk to, you can now pick up the phone and call 988 and talk to a counselor who can give you help. And don't hesitate to call. This year, we're committing more mental health resources and new funding for programs that help families support and affirm their kids.
Fuck that.
A new federal initiative to address the LGBTQ homelessness. New proposed regulations requiring states to protect.
What about regular homelessness? See, this is the point that I was trying to make earlier, that the left, they segregate. They don't care about the American people. When they have us in buckets, they have us divided, and then they have us going against each other. Right? Because that's how they win. They win by our division against one another.
LGBTQ kids in foster care, and so much more. Let me close with this. I know it's hot out there, and you're probably, when's the man going to finish?
Should have finished yesterday. Your voice kills me.
me close with what I see today. Well, thank you. Well, let me close with what I see today at the White House. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I see families who testified in state capitals against laws stripping them of their freedom. I see students who are leading walkouts and protests of hateful bills like Don't Say Gay.
But it
All
doesn't
of
say
you,
that.
This is not hyperbole. In all of you, what I see is courage. I mean it sincerely. From the bottom, I see courage. Courage. And those who were the generation before you who stepped up, it's even more courage. They worried not only for their lives, they worried for their jobs. They worried for whether or not they could even be involved at all in the community. Imagine what it...
Again, there are laws that protect groups of people based on religion, race, and sexuality. You cannot discriminate against somebody. If you do, you can get sued. So when he says that you can get fired for being a member of the LGBTQ community, I don't think so. I'm more likely to get fired as a white man, straight white man, than somebody from the LGBTQ plus community. That's the reality.
It took 40 years ago to stand up and say, I'm gay. What would have happened? No, I mean, people who had to fear for their lives just acknowledging it. Just acknowledging it. We all talk about courage. Well, I see more courage in this lawn than I've seen in any time in the recent past. But the thing about y'all is, you not only are about courage, you generate so much hope for people. Hope and light. You enrich every part of American life. Educators, entertainers, entrepreneurs, athletes, actors, artists, scientists, scholars, diplomats, doctors, service members, veterans, and so much more. As I said, I mean this, I swear to God. You're some of the bravest and most inspiring people I've ever known. And I've known a lot of good folks. You set an example for the nation and, quite frankly, for the world. You know, we all move forward when we move together. With your joy.
But you don't want people to move together, Joe. You keep them in their buckets. That's how you keep people apart. You don't keep them together. You break people apart.
With your pride lighting the way. So today, let us proudly remember who we are. The United States of America. And there is nothing beyond America's capacity when we decide to do it together as you're doing today. We shall get better every single year. Happy Pride. Enjoy the celebration.
Speaking of celebrations, so now that I'm like sick and tired of that speech, let me click out of some of this stuff here. So during the celebration, there was a transgendered female who was caught on camera on the White House lawn, by the way, going topless. I'm sure this has made its way around social media. And we're going to play this video. Let me see if I can get the video up for us here. And we'll see what is going on. Let me pull that up. Here we go. So this is the video that came right from the White House lawn. Oh, let's get rid of this ad. Oh, nope, I'm messed up here. Let's see. No, that's not it. Anyway, so this Rose Montoya is a transgendered female. She's a transgendered model, and she took part in the event that was at the White House. And she and some other folks who were part of the celebration at the White House decided it would be a good idea to go topless at this event. So let me see if I can, let me see if it'll let me, let's see here. Let me refresh this page. Oh, here we go. All right.
Happy Pride Month. Happy Pride Year. Happy Pride Life. Yeah!
So this is the reason why.
You are heard.
You belong.
So this is the reason. This is the reason why that there are so many people in the country and possibly around the world who have a problem with the messaging that the LGBTQ community is putting out, because it's this exact example as to why people are sick of seeing this and are frustrated by it. It's the over sexualization of the group that is now seeping into schools. But here we go.
And you belong. Some of the bravest and most inspiring people I've ever known.
I mean, you're welcome.
Good folks.
Can we take a little video? Hi, Mr. President. It is an honor. Trans rights are human rights.
So that's Rose Montoya.
Oh, it's a video. Oh, it's a video.
Are we talking?
Yeah, there you go.
Is that the White House?
That's at the White House, people. That's at the White House. Now, since this has come out, this has Rose has come out and apologized, or she's made a statement on this. But that's not the point. The point is that this, if this wasn't documented, that would have been acceptable behavior for this group of people. It would have. And that's the reality of it. So when you see people frustrated by this ideology, this agenda that's being shoved down children's throats, this is the reason why. There were kids at this event, and they were subjected to that, and that's acceptable? No. But anyway, I want to know what you all think. If you agree or disagree with my comments, let me know down below. We appreciate your feedback. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button, and please don't hesitate to subscribe. And we appreciate you, and we will see you in the next one.